So which takes us to that point, Financial Crime Governance Committee.
Yeah, so we had three levels of governance. One was, at the enterprise level, and that was, all financial crimes teams for all lines of business or whatever. And that was useful, and we all went there, but it tended to be more of an information distribution vehicle coming from our second line of defense. They would have votes on, certain procedures or whatever, but, they were a little bit more pro forma. And certainly there weren't customer specific decisions on those. I mean, they were needed, but they had, I'd say a fairly defined role, which was, dissemination of information and policies and procedures or whatever. And then the next area that we had was line of business approval. For certain types of things, you had to, have multiple risk groups and senior business people approve it. So there were voting members and that sort of thing. And those were pretty robust meetings and had pretty transparent minutes. So, I mean, you could see the discussion and, where people disagreed and that sort of thing. So they were absolutely necessary, but you also had very senior people on there, so there wasn't a lot of room for brainstorming or, kind of, just general discussion. And then we went down one other level, which was a subcommittee level, and that's where you had your senior managers from a day-to-day perspective.
So important.
Yeah, and we viewed those as more of working sessions, and we did them much more frequently. We did keep minutes, and the minutes were pretty detailed, but that's where we dealt with a lot of and we had second line of defense people on there, but that's where we dealt with the brainstorming and well, what if we try this, what if we try that, very much solution oriented. And what eventually happened was everyone realized we were getting a lot of the work done with that. And while the other ones wanted to know the results of it, they didn't necessarily need all the details. So we became a true subcommittee where things were being delegated to this working group. Then we would work on it. We'd have, milestones and reports and stuff. But then we'd report it out in a summary fashion. And then it would either be approved or not approved. But our role was to make everything more actionable for the more senior leaders. And I think that was pretty much the right mix. We did have the senior people involved, and they certainly knew kind of what we were thinking and why. But they weren't watching the sausage being made. And they, sometimes, we'd bring something up to them and they'd ask them questions and they'd say, no, you guys got some more work to do. And they'd send it back to us, with some, request and we deal with it. So, I'd say getting the right blend of day-to-day, decisioning. Now, that subcommittee, did have reasonable senior people on it. But they were people that were involved in the day-to-day, so they could be involved with that. It wasn't the absolute leaders of the corporation.
Right.
So I don't know if that responds to your question.
No, absolutely. That's great.